struggle to survive around the toughest circuits? Are you fed up of making poor mistakes that end your races? Well, here at Apex Sage Coaching, we will help you reach your full driving potential. Whether it be a road course or an oval, we have a coach that will improve your ability. Over time, we will iron out those mistakes and make you become the driver you wish to be. And soon, you'll be making last lap passes for the win. For more information, reach out to us on Twitter at Apex Sage Coach.
Hello everybody and welcome to round 4 of the 2021 Velocity on iRacing Classic Christmas Cup. We are here from the Charlotte Motor Speedway, the 2018 Oval, which is gonna be the host of a very exciting race tonight. Of course, we are here at this 24-degree, 4-turn, 1.5 mile intermediate speedway, which, as I said, is host of round 4 of the 2021 Christmas Cup. After this one, we've got 2 races to go at Nashville and California, but of course, tonight, first up is Charlotte. So, we're going to dive straight into things here as we are getting ready to get qualifying underway. So here is the track map. I already mentioned it briefly. 24 degrees of banking in the corners, 5 degrees down the straights, 1.5 miles in length, which is 2.4 kilometers, intermediate oval. And you have a 45 mile per hour speed limit and a fuel window of approximately 60 laps, and lifting is a sign of weakness for real tonight. Of course, last night's race was a bit of a chaotic one, so hopefully nothing similar to that, of course. But yeah, as I mentioned, Nashville up next on Thursday this upcoming week, and then on the 2nd of January we have the final race of the season at California Auto Club Speedway. But of course, first up tonight is Charlotte. Then we're going to look at the 2005 series schedule. Homestead Miami Speedway up first on the 8th of January before we go to Phoenix, Indianapolis, Texas Motor Speedway, Richmond Raceway, Nashville Super Speedway, Michigan International Speedway, Kentucky, Iowa, which is a substitute for Pikes Peak, and a traditional final round at Auto Club Speedway, which will be 100 laps, by the way, not 150. That graphic is wrong. So yeah, here we are at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And we have the first cars out on track for qualifying. So let's quickly go there and see what's up. So currently Matt Hummel on the provisional pole, and Matt has been looking very quick in practice already. So I'm interested to see what he can do here in qualifying. You have 4 laps or 5 minutes to set the best lap time you can. And really it's all about hugging the white lines on the inside of the track. There you can see Matt doing that as we are on board with him in the 93. As he goes down the backstretch. Shane Coulomb goes to P2, by the way, with Patrick Silvassi in P3. Shane just goes to the top right there, to a 24.56. Matt Hummel does improve his lap time, but comes up to about 1/100th of a second short as he goes into the wall. Let's shift our attention to Shane Coulomb then, as we have about 2.5 minutes left. Shane does improve his lap time again. As Patrick also goes to P2, by the way. Very nice run for him in qualifying. As Charles Baldwin drops to P5 with Jan Hoffman moving up into P4. Craig Forsyth now moves into P4, takes that position away from Jan Hoffman. As we go to Thomas Geisler now. So Thomas led the championship going into the Indianapolis round yesterday. He did lose that championship meet though, as Jan Hoffman goes to the provisional pole. Improves that pole time by 3/100th of a second, beats Shane Coulomb. So here comes Thomas Geisler out of turn 4, across the line. And he goes up into P6. Let's stay on board with him, see what the German can do. Of course, Thomas won at Chicagoland in Season 5, the final race of the season. Also won at Phoenix in the Christmas Cup last week, the second race of the weekend. And Thomas not able to improve on that run as Cameron Baustian goes 9th quickest, about 2/10 off the pace. And Thomas' run is also completed, so I think that wraps it up for qualifying here, as we have about 40 seconds to go. So, Jan Hoffmann from Stralsund in Germany for Vortex Sim Racing on the pole position tonight. That is, of course, assuming that Alex van der Zandt will not set a lap time. He mentioned this in the interview yesterday, that he is not intending to qualify for any of the races, so he just wants to start from the back and see where he can end up. And if I'm correct, Gary will also be starting from the back. I've told him that the setup is going to be very interesting to race with. Oh, sorry, Lily, I forgot to do that. Yes, thank you very much. That should improve it. Apologies. I forgot to change the volume levels back from the interviews last night. It was still set to 100% for the sim, so or the system audio, I should say. So qualifying is wrapped up. Let's quickly go over the starting grid for tonight's race. So, like I mentioned, Jan Hoffmann on the pole position, 6/1000ths of a second clear of Shane Coogan on the outside of row 1. Row 2 will be Patrick Silvassi and Matt Hummel. Row 3, Craig Forsyth and Thomas Geisler. Row 4, Charles Baldwin and Brandon Dollar. Cameron Baustian and Alex van der Zandt in row 5. And the final row is Gary Gotzo and Dan Morera. And the last 3 cars who I mentioned did not set a lap time, so their intentions are pretty clear. They just want to stay out of all the trouble and get through this race. So before we take the green flag, I will quickly take a moment to go to commercial break. Of course, we will be right back before the green flag flies.
Do you struggle to survive around the toughest circuits? Are you fed up of making poor mistakes that end your races? Well, here at Apex Sage Coaching, we will help you reach your full driving potential. Whether it be a road course or an oval, we have a coach that will improve your ability. Over time, we will iron out those mistakes and make you become the driver you wish to be. And soon, you'll be making last lap passes for the win. For more information, reach out to us on Twitter at Apex Sage Coach.
Alright, here we are on the grid for round 4 of the season here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It is, of course, the 2021 Classic Christmas Cup for Velocity Online Racing. We are over halfway into the season now. So the championship is starting to take shape. Of course, we will have the standings for you on Thursday after this weekend. As the cars are rolling on the pace lap now. And no worries, Lily. Thank you for letting me know, by the way. Just because I had this in the Platinum IndyCar series not too long ago too. Actually, it was the last race of season 2, I think. And nobody was in chat to tell me, so the audio was messed up for a really long time. But at least you were here this time, so... Well, like you always are, of course. I'm quickly trying to grab the championship standings here to just mention, because I don't have the graphic, of course, as Jan Hoffmann is blinking a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't get too much worse. So Alex van der Zandt leads the points standings by 6 points over Thomas Geisler. Oscar Fredriksson in the 3rd position is not attending tonight, and then the top 5 in the points is rounded off by Shane Coogan and Gary Gotzo. So those are the points standings, as we are gearing up for 83 laps around the Charlotte Motor Speedway. 125 miles. As the pace car turns left into the pits, and Jan Hoffmann and Shane Coogan on the front row. Jan Hoffmann dictates the pace, and there he goes. Everybody's got to be careful in first gear, unlike the restart last night, and we get underway cleanly, most importantly, for round 4 at Charlotte. So lap 1 completed, Jan Hoffman still leads, and the top 3 very much breaking away already, as the rest of the pack is drafting up towards one another, and this race is going to be a crazy pack race. You might not be seeing it as much early on, because the drivers will be wanting to be patient, but I can tell you, and I can almost guarantee you in fact, that this race is going to turn into an absolute nightmare for some people. It's going to be an absolute crazy one. So grab some popcorn while you can before the action gets underway properly. As we continue to look out the backside of Jan Hoffman for Vortex Sim Racing, looking towards Shane Coogan and Matt Hummel in P3. And actually, let's shift to the blimp cam to maybe catch some of the action further back in the pack. Patrick Silvasi leading Group 2 of the cars. As Thomas Geisler is running side by side with Charles Baldwin there for position. Charles on the inside pulls back by again in front of Thomas. And this race is all about hugging the inside line and not letting go of the white line. Now, I want to quickly go on board with Alex van der Sand here, because just to pay a little bit closer attention to see if he's lifting at all. You can just see that he desperately wants to try to get the inside line. Just having a look if he can go for the gap, but is unable to do so. So there you can see the momentum builds, but he just has to get out of the throttle, because if he goes to the high side, he will be swallowed up. As, oh, Patrick makes a crucial mistake, moves up a lane, and Alex van der Sand is gonna say thank you. He moves to the inside and takes that position. As now Alex has his eyes on Shane Coogan to try and get that position. And the lead that the top 3 had is very much gone, as these guys are slowly starting to get a little bit more aggressive already early on. Lap 7, about to complete that one and start lap 8. There we go. This is Dan Morera driving in the last position. He got involved in one of the restart incidents last night, and he actually got here quite late. So not very much time to practice for Dan, but I know that he's quite experienced on the ovals, so I think it will take about 10 laps, which we are coming up to complete anyway, to get up to speed and get used to the car again. As Alex van der Sand moves up into P3 for just a brief moment, as we're going side by side up at the front as well now. So I'm trying to get a good camera angle here. Let's go with TV2. There you go. So Jan Hoffman on the inside with Matt Hummel on the outside now, trying to make something work. And it's 2 by 2 now for the top 4 positions. And oh my gosh. So 73 laps to go, and from here on out it's going to be crazy. That's the only word I can use really. As Alex van der Sand is almost bump drafting Matt Hummel by Jan Hoffman. Oh, bit of contact there between Alex and Matt. He's got to be careful to not spin him around and I guess turn him NASCAR style. So Alex moves back to the inside now. He's going to try to bump, within limits of course, Jan Hoffman, because really there's no bump drafting allowed, so you really have to give gentle pushes, I guess. And actually I will get rid of all the gaps on the screen, because it might be getting a little bit confusing with everything that's going on the screen. So there you go. Let's just bring up the car logos. Yes, this is absolutely crazy. This is what the IRL used to be like. The Indy Racing League. As we have 70 laps to go now. Cameron Baustian moving in front of Shane Coogan, who has just lost a lot of momentum. And actually, I think what Shane is trying to do here is he's trying to drop to the back, because he doesn't trust what's happening around him. And honestly, I don't really blame him. Thomas Geisler, his indirect teammate for Team Racers, sitting right behind him, and Gary and Dan are doing that very same thing. As we are on board with Thomas Geisler here. In his Gulf-inspired livery. That's Brandon Dollar moving by Patrick Silvassi. He's also falling back. And it kind of gets to a point now where falling back really doesn't help you very much because everybody's going to be doing the same. So Patrick just wants a little bit of breathing space for the time being, moving all the way up to the high side there out of turn 4. You just saw. Oh, that's the first big incident. That's between the two leaders, I think, and we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars involved. Oh, this is a huge incident on the backstretch. And of course, when it happens in front, everybody behind has nowhere to go. And it showed perfectly right there. And is that Gary Gotso involved? Yes, it is. Gary is involved too. So Gary, the Godstrat, didn't go to plan today. So I'm trying to look this incident up in the session events, but we have loads of cars involved. And Jan Hoffman is completely destroyed. And Charles Baldwin, if he wasn't already, certainly is now. I think we have about the entire field involved on that one. Only 17 laps into this thing. So there is a little bit of damage on Alex van der Sand. So on board, oh, it's actually Jan Hoffman clipping the apron, and Alex van der Sand just brushed him and spun him around completely. So there you can see all the chaos. Oh, literally no, there was literally nowhere to go for anybody. I think we have 2 undamaged cars only. So Alex van der Sand in the pits, he's gonna get his damage repaired. And Cameron Moustian is gonna be the first car out of the pits, and he's gonna lead this race. So there goes Alex out as well with a new wing on the car. And I think literally everybody is completely destroyed. So yeah, you can see Jan Hoffman there spinning, and like I mentioned, literally nobody had anywhere to go. There's a huge flip on the back stretch as well. So Dan Morera is back out, as well as Jan Hoffman, I think. Does show him as driving around on the track at least. It should be a one-stop really. The pit window opened on lap 13, I think, already. You have 83 liters in this tank, which is a little bit larger than the IR18 fuel tank, and yeah, if you pit on lap 13, you should be able to make it to the end. So it's just a one stop. So we have 5 cars 3 laps down, 1 car out, 1 car a lap down, which is Coogan, and then we have Hoffman classified as out, and also Baldwin a lap down. So lights on the pace car are out. I do believe. Yes, they are. Just wanted to make sure. So green flag is back out and we are back underway at Charlotte with 3 cars still running on the lead lap. So Cameron Baustian leads Alex Van der Sant and Dan Morera. Charles Baldwin is a lap down. I think he is still running as well, actually. Yes, he is. He's back out onto the track. And everybody else is destroyed to a point where they can't really go out anywhere. This is a great race. Well, it was until the incident anyways. So here we have Alex trying to go to the outside now. And I really don't think you can make anything on the outside work unless you cut to the inside. Get a huge run here, which Alex does. And maybe you can pull clear going into turn 3 with some luck. If you're just tuning in, we just had the big one happen a few laps ago, which literally took out the entire field except 3 cars. Actually made that 4 because Charles Baldwin did get damaged, but is still running around. But effectively, we still have 3 cars in the race, which is a very big shame, of course. We're not even a third into this race, but that's just the way it goes sometimes, especially with crazy pack racing like this at Charlotte. Well, not like this, literally, but what we had earlier in the race. Which we can actually take you back to for just a brief moment, because I don't think anything is really going to happen here anyways. So here you can see, on board this huge crash, which involved 8 cars, if it wasn't 9. And that was all caused by Jan Hoffman clipping the apron. And he just said on Discord that he once again pushed a little bit too early. Which I'm not sure if I agree with, to be fair, because it happens to all of us, really. When it's such an intense race like this, you just have to hold the inside line. You just become desperate to not let go of it. And of course, it's very easy to make the smallest mistakes. And turn in half a second too early. Well, not half a second, half a tenth too early, I should say, because half a second is a little bit too much. But it happens, is what I'm trying to say. So 64 laps to go at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We have 3 cars still running as Cameron Baustian has got to be careful to not let go of the inside line there. Almost did. And allowed Alex through, but he just shut the door there just in time. And Dan Morera even though he was involved in that incident too earlier on, his car seems to be up to the pace of the leaders, which is only a good thing, of course, but I'm surprised to see it, to be fair. Actually, let's go back to Dan in that incident. So there you can see the entire incident happening. And then rear ends one car. And actually, he got really lucky there. He did get some suspension damage, but it might have just been a toe link on the front, as he actually brushes by another car there. So he got that toe link repaired, got a new front wing on the car, and is running again, as you can see, in P3. So if you're watching in chat, feel free to put something in chat, as my English is doing great once again tonight. If you have any questions, comments, or whatever, if you want to talk about the IndyCars, feel free to shoot a message. I'll be happy to do some chat interaction, because we gotta fill this one up somehow. Because quite honestly, I don't think much is going to happen until about 15 laps to go, when the gloves will start to come off for these drivers. At this point, they're just trying to run laps, trying to get to the end of the race. As Dan Morera gets a big run on the outside line whilst I was looking at my phone, apologies, but almost got by Alex van der Sande there, as he is still running side by side with him, and Alex is actually pushing the rain light of Cameron Bastian, so they get a bit of a run away from Dan Morera as they are coming up to lap Charles Baldwin again for a second time. Well, third time officially, but second time after the restart. As we have 5 people in chat now, welcome everybody. I think most of those 5 people are those that crashed out, to be fair. I have to say, when everybody was single file in the beginning, being smart about this, I actually got some hope that we will get this race underway and going for quite some time, until they started getting all packy and, well, that happened. But that's just the nature of pack racing, and some of the people in here might not be too used to that, which is completely fine, of course. But that's probably the root cause of that incident as well there, because everybody could have backed off a little bit more, if I'm honest. Because I saw a lot of people not even lifting when the crash was happening in front, which is of course the first thing you need to do in pack racing like this. Once you see any type of smoke, you back out. Alex trying to force the issue there on the apron almost. You're not allowed to run the apron though to improve your position. So let's take a quick look once again at the incident. As we move to the chopper camera here. So Jan Hofman clipped the apron just a second before that moment. Then Alex tapped him on the rear and that spun him around completely. And then of course there's Craig flipping upside down, Matt Hummel going in the wall, Thomas Geisler being clipped from behind by Shane Coogan, who goes into the wall as well. That's Matt Hummel, by the way. flipping upside down too, and then there's Gary Gotso, Thomas Geisler, Dan Barrera, everybody involved, as Charles Baldwin actually picked up some rear suspension damage, but we saw he got back out of the pits again to complete a few more laps, and that was the incident. For those who were just tuned in, as we are about halfway into this thing. And since the restart, the positions haven't changed at all. We did see Dan Marora getting a big run across the backstretch into turn 3 and 4, but wasn't able to pull it off because the shorter distance, of course, is on the inside line. So right now this all becomes about setting up the run for the final lap. If you can time it well enough, get a run out of turn 4 and then pull alongside for the start-finish line, you might be able to edge ahead a nose, very much like Sam Hornish used to do back in the day, when he was on the outside at least, because from memory most of the finishers he was on the inside, but that's really what you need to do in these types of races. It's gonna be a very short highlights package, I can tell you guys that much. On board with Alex van der Sand here in the 97. Pretty sure he's just trying to practice his run out of turn 4 at this point. Like I said a little bit ago, I don't think you're going to see very much racing until about 15 laps to go. These guys will just be trying to get to the end. So Cameron leaving plenty of space to the white lines all the way around the corner. Doesn't want to get near the apron. You'll see right as I say that he actually moves quite close to it. So Alex trying to have a go around the outside now. Dan thought about going for the inside and taking that gap, but he decided not to, which is probably the wise decision at the moment. As Alex pulls to the inside on the apron, he's gonna come into the pits first. Can he slow it down? He's gotta risk it. I think he sped slightly, but he might have gotten away with it. Let's see. As he pulls into his pit box with about 32 laps to go. He will be the first one to do so, as he has a clear entrance to his pit box. car not going up the jacks. You don't really need... Oh, he actually did go up the jacks there. I didn't see him go up. But you don't really need to take tires on this track, which is weird, but... when you have them, I guess use them anyway. As Alex has to be careful here not to cross the white line, but he did not get a penalty, which is good. But he does go a lap down, so should a caution come out now for whatever reason, he will be trapped a lap down. Pretty much. But Cameron Baustian and Dan Marara keep going. Well, I think if you're one of the cars that pitted under that first yellow, the first and only yellow of the day, which involved literally the entire field, by the way, I would try to save some fuel, because you can go the distance, or should be able to go the distance, because that caution came out on lap 16, so 67 laps. I think that's plenty to make it to the end, to be honest. So I'm not really sure why Alex pitted then. But maybe he knows something that I don't. "26 laps to go, coming up to 25 here as we cross the line." And Alex has got no draft to work with. So he's going to be on his own, just like Cameron Baustian and Dan Marara basically are. Because Dan really can't go anywhere, because he is kind of stuck behind Cameron here. Of course, if you're watching, make sure that you like the stream. If you enjoyed, of course. You can also use the dislike. We don't see that anymore, so if you want to use that, feel free to. And of course, also subscribe if you aren't subscribed yet. Of course, we have the 2005 series starting off in January, and we also have the main series coming over to this channel, which will be hosted by Chris Scala, by the way. He will broadcast on our channel from season 6 onwards. And of course, there's also the Euro Series, which is starting on the 8th of January as well, which will be broadcast by me, as always. Speaking of the 2005 series, by the way, here is that schedule once again. You can see Homestead Miami on the 8th to open the season, with Phoenix the week after that, and Indianapolis, which follows as well. The first of 3 Triple Crown races, which is 200 miles in length. Then there's a week off until Texas Motor Speedway before we go to Richmond on the 12th of February before we go to Nashville, which is going to be quite interesting in this car. Actually, you can go flat out in qualifying for 2 laps before the car starts to get quite loose, which is of course something that the drivers will have to work with. I can guarantee you, though, it won't be as bad as last night's race at Indianapolis, but then we have a week off until we return to Michigan. Then we have Kentucky and Iowa, which is a substitute for Pikes Peak, if you remember that track from back in the day. And the final race at Auto Club Speedway on the 2nd of April. So, like I mentioned, the VOR IndyCar main series will also become broadcasted on this channel. And here is the schedule for that. Of course, it's not the right resolution. Hold on. I literally just loaded this one up on my streaming software. Hello, there we are. Perfect. So, starting the season at Auto Club Speedway before we go to Atlanta, and then we have a week off until a double header at Twin Ring Motegi. First up is the road course before we go to the oval, and this double header was actually very much requested last year already after we ran Motegi in season 3. Then we have Long Beach after a week break. The first time ever we go to a street course, by the way, in the VOR IndyCar main series. Before another week off until Richmond, which is gonna be the inaugural race there at Richmond for this league. Then the week after that we have the Indianapolis bike course provisionally. Of course, if Indianapolis gets rescanned, we will move to that new road course. Of course, at the moment we have the 2009 road course, which is quite outdated, of course, as you can imagine. So, provided that doesn't change, we're running the bike course. If it does, it's going to be the updated road course. Then we have a week off until the big race, 300 miles at Indy as tradition. Then we go to Milwaukee the week after that, before another week off until we go to Detroit. And then finishing off the season is Nashville, and the final of 3 Triple Crown races, of course, at Homestead, which is going to be a full-length IndyCar race for a change. Of course, they ran 300 miles there in real life in the past. So that's what's coming up in 2022. As we are inside 15 laps to go. Nothing changed at the front. Cameron Baustian still leads from Dan Morera, with Alex van der Zandt a lap down. Of course, he pitted. Still a bit of an unknown whether these two have to pit as well, but I don't think they do. Of course, if you want to stay up to date with all the latest VOR news, feel free to follow us on Twitter at VelocityOR. That's also where you can find sign-up information for Season 6, as well as Season 4 of the Euro Series and the 2005 series, which we run also. As Cameron Baustian pulls into the pits, it's got to be careful not to spin, but you don't want to lose too much time to Alex van der Zandt. And Cameron is very, very careful to not speed as he pulls it down and slows it down as well. So this leaves Dan Morera out in front. And he is ducking to the inside as well, so he cannot make it on fuel. As Dan is taking it very easily going into the pits. But Cameron pulls away. As Alex van der Zandt comes out of turn 4. As Cameron gets up to speed. Will Alex be able to jump Cameron Baustian for the race lead? And that way, I guess, secure the race win too. Just waiting to see Cameron Baustian pop up. There he is, getting up to speed. Let's stay on board with Alex here with 9 laps to go. 8 across the line. Will Cameron get up to speed in time? I think he will. So Cameron Baustian, all he has to do at this point is hold the inside line. As Dan Morera exits the pits as well, by the way. He drops to P3. And he might have gotten a penalty for unsafe pit exit. But Cameron trying to break the draft now. It's going to be quite pointless in my opinion. But all that Cameron really has to do now is hold the inside line. And don't even give Alex an opportunity to go down the inside. And Cameron could be looking at his first victory in the series. as Alex has caught up to him now. Alex trying to have a go around the outside, but he's got the longer distance to travel. Oh, this is gonna be close. Phew. Alex pulls alongside now as we go into turn 3. 7 laps to go. And here we go. This is gonna be the photo finish we've been waiting for. Couldn't quite tell who led that lap, but Cameron Baustian still hanging on the inside line. So Cameron got his first podium last night at Indianapolis. Alex got his first win of the series, or the Christmas Cup I should say. Well, it is a series technically, but he won at Indy last night. And let's see if we can have 4 winners in 4 races. In a race that was led by Jan Hofmann early on until the incident that took out the entire field. And left us with 3 cars running. Which are Cameron Baustian, Alex van der Sant and Dan Morera. Charles Baldwin did manage to drive a few laps, but he has decided a few moments ago to park the car as well and call it a day. So 3 laps to go at Charlotte, round 4 of the 2021 Classic Christmas Cup. Of course, next race will be on Thursday. This week. Of course, this upcoming Thursday. At Nashville Superspeedway. Coming out of turn 4, 2 laps to go. Cameron Baustian leads this time around. He's got to lead the next 2 laps though. And the last 2 laps as well. As Alex is actually able to hold it alongside Cameron here out of turn 2. As he just edges a nose ahead going into turn 3. But now the short distance will kick in again. So here we go. A typical IRL photo finish. It's not quite a pack race, an exciting race that we hoped for. But white flag is out. At least we're going to get an exciting finish. So final lap at Charlotte. Alex on the outside line. Cameron Baustian on the inside trying to go for his first win in the Christmas Cup. Alex trying to go for his second. Into turn 3. Cameron holds his ground for now. If he can move over a little bit. Alex with the momentum on the outside line. Cameron Baustian wins it by 1/100th of a second over Alex van der Sant. And it is his first win in the Christmas Cup and his first VOR win as well for Cameron Baustian. There he is, the man of the race from Dallas, Texas. And he's going to do a lap around the Roval, I think, is he? Or he's going to do donuts here, which is a perfect spot to do it. There you go. Well, he knows how to do this stuff. So yeah, Alex van der Sant came close, but we have 4 different winners in 4 races in the 2021 Classic Christmas Cup. Which is actually a very nice stat to have as well. So let's bring in the race results for round 4 of the season. So Cameron Baustian wins it by 12/1000ths of a second. In the end, as the results show, from Alex van der Sant in P2. Dan Morera finishes P3. Didn't quite have the pit cycle that he had hoped for when he came into the pits. Took it quite easy and lost touch with the draft there, but still finishes P3, which is, I think, a result he will be happy about. And Charles Baldwin finishes 27 laps down in P4. Shane Coogan Jan Hoffman, Brandon Dollar, Gary Gotso, Thomas Geisler, Patrick Silvassi, Craig Forsyth, and Matt Hummel, all involved in that huge incident on lap 16, which we will bring up a replay from one more time. Here you can see it. And it was all caused by Jan Hoffman clipping the apron and collecting the entire field. They can just see it in the top of the screen. And it was chaos that followed. So it's time to go to a quick commercial break, and we'll have a chat with the podium finishers. If they even bother to show up, I personally wouldn't, but let's wait and see. So yeah, we'll be right back in just a moment.
Do you struggle to survive around the toughest circuits? Are you fed up of making poor mistakes that end your races? Well, here at Apex Sage Coaching, we will help you reach your full driving potential. Whether it be a road course or an oval, we have a coach that will improve your ability. Over time, we will iron out those mistakes and make you become the driver you wish to be. And soon, you'll be making last lap passes for the win. For more information, reach out to us on Twitter at Apex Sage Coach.
Oh, forgot to up the thumbnail on the screen. There you go. So it's time to talk to Dan Morera first. He finished in the 3rd position. Hello, Dan. Do you have me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. So it wasn't a very exciting race, but it was one that at least got you your first podium ever in VOR. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, you know me. I'm a survivor. I'm gonna hang in there. I just got lucky, man. That wreck on lap, what was it, 17, scared the crap out of everyone. And I think pretty much everyone got damaged to some degree. I had some required, some optionals, not much. So I was able to just go out there and hang in there. It was quite something.
Yeah, just a shame it happened so early, because I think this definitely had the potential to be a great race. But at least it got us the result, or got you the result that you got in the end. So at least you can be happy that you survived and finished P3 there. But I will keep this one short, because just like last night's race, there's not much to really talk about. So feel free to put out any shoutouts.
Oh, just to you guys for putting this together, Gary, the VOR team at 5150. I also want to thank Boobies, Beer, and happiness in general.
Perfect. Well, go to celebrate, and see you on Thursday for Nashville.
See you, man. Thanks.
So that was Dan Morera finishing in P3. Let's bring in Alex van der Sand. Hey, Alex. Congratulations on P2.
Thanks. That was very, very hard fought and well earned.
I love how I can sense the sarcasm. I don't know how, but but we saw you mix it up there with Cameron towards the end. Came close to it, but just wasn't able to pull alongside and clear him across the line, which was actually a photo finish like in the IRL days. But just talk us through the last few laps from your perspective, please.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if Dan would know to push Cameron, because it'd give them both a bunch more speed, and he did. So the undercut didn't quite work, but I think Cam was a little more conservative on pit in than I was, so I was able to make up that time. At the end, if the finish line was on the back stretch, I would have won, but just with the way the front stretch curves, I had the momentum coming to the line, but he had the shorter less distance to travel. So it's just how it is. It's how these cars race, and I think it's fun sometimes. But glad it was a decent duel between us.
Well, you guys sure gave us an exciting finish there. I think I actually had a pretty good call on that last lap. But anyways, the next race is going to be Nashville. Your thoughts on that track for us, please.
I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make the next race, but Nashville, it's a great track. I know in the R18, the racing product isn't great, but I really enjoy lapping it there. So I haven't tried it in this car yet, but hopefully it'll put on a good show. This has a bit more downforce, so I think might be easier for people to follow more closely, but we'll see.
Perfect. So before I let you go, feel free to put out your shout-outs as always.
Yeah, big thanks to Cam for putting on a really good, clean race at the end there. Apologies to the field. I'm not going to take the blame for it, but it was very unfortunate that it happened. But yeah, but then thanks to my usual sponsors, lmsecure.com, Race First, Happy Trails Chili Company.
Perfect. If it makes you feel any better, it was actually Jan that clipped the apron and then you kind of tapped
Yeah.
it, but it wasn't your fault, so...
Oh yeah, I just couldn't react, but oh well.
Yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes, though. But well, hopefully see you on Thursday. If not, we'll see you hopefully at the finale at California.
Yeah, we'll see. Thanks.
So that was Alex van der Sant finishing P2, winner last night, P2 again. So good championship run for him. Let's bring in Cameron Boustian. Hello, Cameron. Congratulations on your first ever win. Last night you got the first ever podium, so of course it wasn't quite the race that we all expected once again, but yeah, you came out on top and you actually had a really nice battle with Alex. Just talk through your race in general.
Yeah, thanks, Julian. I really did have fun with that one. It was a little bit of a sleeper for the last 3/4 of it, but that setup was pretty solid, pretty stable the whole way, and I felt like one of the main things that I was curious about was the fuel numbers, especially as we were headed towards the end and looking at green flag stops right at the end of the race there.
Yeah, I actually saw that you were a little bit conservative in there, but you had enough of a margin to come out in front of Alex, which was actually crucial to you finishing in P1 in the end there. But I quickly want to ask you, by the way, so when the entire field wrecked, you of course knew that there were only, well, at the time 4 cars running, if you don't count Charles who ran around with damage, there were only 3 cars left. Were the race nerves that you had battling for the race win any less than they normally were, or was it more or less the same?
Well, I think that coming down toward the end, obviously with somebody like Alex behind you, Alex van der Sant, he's just really talented, really skilled. He's done great in the VOR main series. And of course, that kind of gets to you a little bit. But, looking at the moves that he was trying to make on the outside, I was recalling my practice that I'd done earlier in the day, and I wasn't really able to make moves on the high line, so I felt like I was in a pretty good position if I just kept the low line and forced Alex to make his move high. It just seemed like that was really what you had to do, was keep low in practice, but I was a little bit worried maybe Alex would have had a miracle and would have been able to get a good run and keep some momentum off of 4 and catch me right at the end there.
Well, it turned out to be going your way tonight, so you came out on top, and well, you have a reason to drink tonight, though. You might have work tomorrow, but just don't tell your boss.
There we go. Yeah, it turned out pretty well. I'm glad it turned out in my favor. Definitely came in for that last pit stop a little bit conservative, but I somehow it went my way. So glad to have the victory on this one, and definitely glad to beat somebody talented like Alex here.
Well, congratulations. Of course, the next race is going to be at Nashville. First of all, you're going to be attending. Second, if you are, your thoughts on the track. Have you ever raced there? What are you expecting / hoping for?
Well, I've raced there in the IR18, which is of course the current IndyCar. I am a little bit unsure about what Nashville would be like with the IR05. I remember just really having difficulty with how much it pushes there, at least in the IR18 and the setup that we had there, and just trying to make sure that I had a good rhythm established on that track. So I'm not sure how it's going to turn out. I'm a little bit worried about it, but I'm sure it'll be a great race.
Perfect. So before I let you go and enjoy the rest of your evening, feel free to send any shout outs to people out there.
Well, I'd definitely like to thank you, Julian, and the guys working on VOR and making sure that this series and the main VOR series run smoothly. I really appreciate the quality of racing there. And shout out again to Alex for racing me clean there at the end. And congratulations to him and Dan on their podium.
Perfect. Well, see you on Thursday then.
All right. Thank you much, Julian. Have a great day.
No problem. You too. So that was Cameron Boustian finishing in P1, his first win ever in VOR. So congratulations to him, and of course, like he also mentioned, to Alex and Dan on their podiums. That wraps it up for us here tonight. It wasn't the race that we were expecting. Well, largely it was the finish that we were expecting, at least. Well, with the two cars and the two leaders. But anyways, it was interesting to say the least. Next race will be at Nashville, like we mentioned a few times already. So we will see you all then. So thanks for watching, and see you all on Thursday.
Do you struggle to survive around the toughest circuits? Are you fed up of making poor mistakes that end your races? Well, here at Apex Sage Coaching, we will help you reach your full driving potential. Whether it be a road course or an oval, we have a coach that will improve your ability. Over time, we will iron out those mistakes and make you become the driver you wish to be. And soon, you'll be making last lap passes for the win. For more information, reach out to us on Twitter at Apex Sage Coach.